Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I am your co-host Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and today we are continuing our NFL free agency recap series with the Denver Broncos. But before we get into that, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button and also ring that bell to get notified when we create new content. Ryan and I, we've been producing a lot more material about the NFL and everything going on in the free agency so far this year. We are now over 1,000 subscribers. It's over 700 from when we started the year. So greatly appreciate everyone joining our family and community. So hop on board of the Tracy Take train, and I will never say that again, and subscribe and ring that bell.
Thank you.
Ryan,
I appreciate that.
Let's get into this.
Yeah.
It sounded ringy and catchy at first, but I don't think that will fly. The Broncos, just put it nicely, very disappointing season last year. Just put it as nicely as possible. That is in the past now. We are now in the Sean Payton era. Hopefully this isn't like a Mike Ditka with the Saints type ordeal, but with some of the moves that they made in the offseason so far, I actually really like the type of foundation that they're trying to build. Yeah. And so we'll get into that here in a second, but let's go over some of the free agency moves of players that they lost. Right, what are some of the key names that are jumping out to you right now?
So obviously the first one, Draymond Jones, the interior defensive lineman, went to Seattle, a team that has been associated with Denver Broncos last offseason pretty heavily. And so Draymond Jones went to the Seahawks. And then other than that, they don't really have too many other big losses. Calvin Anderson, their kind of swing tackle, went to the Patriots. Andrew Beck, a rotational tight end for them, went to the Texans, and then Graham Glasgow, the right guard, went to the Lions. Then they have a ton of guys who left who didn't. Well, I guess Deshaun Williams played a decent bit, as well as Eric Saubert. But then you get into a ton of guys that had just played like 8-9% of snaps that I don't feel like we should go into complete detail, because it's backups, like guys that are playing less than 10% of the snaps. So
yeah. The only other one, let me see if I can find it here. I don't know if you mentioned him yet, but Kareem Jackson played a lot of snaps, and so far as right now, he has not been re-signed. He is 35. I don't believe I'm trying to remember if I've seen anything, but the fact that he's not signed and also that age makes me think, especially at this point, that they're not going to re-sign him. And so that's another one I think that would just to float out there as well. But I agree with you. A lot of it was maybe some other rotational pieces. The only other one, maybe, I don't know if you mentioned right tackle Billy Turner. I had him written down just because there were so many injuries on that offensive line. He actually played a decent bit, and just like trying to figure out some sort of Lego type mismatch of what this offensive line should look like. And so, but that being said, those are the losses, and really it's just kind of just for a forgettable 2022 year. But the moves that they have made so far up to this point, I actually like. I'll focus on the offensive line specifically, but signing Mike McGlinchey, signing Ben Powers, and then they have also signed center Kyle Fuller to a deal. Unfamiliar on the type of value that he'll bring. Maybe he can compete for that interior offensive line spot, just add more depth as well. But up to this, but signing Mike McGlinchey and then signing Ben Powers, those are providing much needed solidification pieces on that offensive side of the ball. Mike McGlinchey and Ben Powers, both proven offensive linemen in the league, and got them for several years now, especially with what they're trying to build. That I think it's just lots of positive steps in the right direction for this team.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then flipping over to the defensive side of the ball, you mentioned this to me right before we started this video, but Zach Allen, the interior defensive lineman who was signed from the Cardinals, actually very statistically similar to Draymond Jones, and they got him for about $2 million less per season. So after you telling me that, I feel a lot more comfortable with this signing and this defensive lineman. I still do look at it as last year, the Denver Broncos had Bradley Chubb and Draymond Jones and cast that could really get after the passer. And it's like, well, now they don't have Bradley Chubb. Now they don't have Draymond Jones. And they just signed Zach Allen from Arizona as kind of a place filler. But I actually do like kind of what you said. Maybe he can bring a little bit more to the table than I originally thought.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that's another solid signing.
Well, and for me, I just look at it, just looking at it across the board. Draymond Jones had one more sack than Zach Allen. So
Yeah.
Draymond Jones had 6.5. Zach Allen had 5.5. They played essentially the same amount of percentage of snaps last year. They're the exact same age, and then they saved $2 million on the team. And so maybe they could have paid Draymond Jones that extra money, but at the same time, it's if he didn't want to play there, and then like they at least replaced him, and so or maybe a Draymond Jones light, so it's not as big of a loss as I think as people are seeing it. It's just statistically in that aspect, at least.
Yeah. So I really like what they're doing there. However, with some of the trades that they made for Russell Wilson and now for Sean Payton, they are lacking in the draft capital area. So let's kind of transition over into what we would like to see them do in the draft. They do have the 67th and the 68th pick in the 2023 draft. Those are their first two picks. And it's kind of hard to predict who's going to be there. But I really think edge rusher, maybe adding a guy to this linebacker group would be good, kind of in that front seven area. And then if you can take a shot at maybe another receiver or maybe getting some running back depth maybe at 3 if like Zach Charbonnet falls down, I think that would be a good one. So there's a lot of different ways they can go. They're kind of in best player available.
Yeah, best player available. Maybe some more on the offensive line depth. I know with Ben Powers and also Quinn Miners as well, the guard position seems pretty solid. Also, let me if there's a center maybe that they really like, maybe a John Michael Schmitz if he falls that far, because there was a rotational piece kind of at center right now. Lloyd Cushenberry is the guy, and he was one of the people that qualified one of the worst centers last year. Just according to PFF. So maybe they can go that route and address that interior offensive line, get some youth there. But maybe running back also, because Chase Edmonds and Mike Boone are gone, and you don't know what Javonte Williams is going to be like back. That's kind of in a Zach Charbonnet area. And I think he can come in and be a 3-down back, kind of a bell cow back for the Broncos. That could be another route. It does seem like it is anybody at this point. It does seem like anybody.
Because they have some good top-end talent with Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Russell Wilson, and then adding to this offensive line, I think, is solid. But again, when you're picking when your first two picks are 67 and 68, I think that like you could really go any direction.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. But let's go ahead and wrap up the Denver Broncos offseason review there. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and help Tyler and I reach our goal of getting to 2,000 subscribers by the NFL season.